Hey, it's Pete Checkley for Sample Library Review, and today I'm checking out the first instalments of Sounds from Hell from Red Room Audio. Red Room Audio have created the first two volumes of their sound design anthology, Sounds from Hell. From the creative minds of 10 sound designers across the world, each volume promises to contain a plethora of sound design options housed in a simple to use yet effective contact instrument. The first two volumes, Ambience and Underscore, and Hits and Transitions, are designed to be easy to use, contain a great range of sounds, and more importantly, provide endless inspiration. Sounds from Hell, Hits and Transitions downloads at 4.9 gigabytes, and the samples are recorded in 24-bit, 44.1 kilohertz. There are 7 categories of cinematic sound effects. There's an 8-slot FX rack, and it requires the full version of Contact 5.8.1 or better, and it sells for $99. At the moment, there's a special offer of $79. Sounds from Hell, Ambience and Underscore is 16.2 gigabytes of content. Again, the samples are recorded in 24-bit, 44.1 kilohertz. There are drones, pads, pulses and soundscapes, an 8-slot FX rack, and this also uses the full version of Contact 5.8.1 or better, and it sells for $99 with a special offer of $79. Before we begin, I recorded a very quick demo. Now, the demos on the Red Room Audio website are absolutely fantastic. They're very varied and really can show off what the library can do. Now, I've taken the angle of I gave myself 15 minutes just to see what I could come up with and see how inspired I was. And I think inspiration is a real big factor of this library. So without further ado, I've gone for a very small mystery type cue. All the instruments in red are from Sounds from Hell. There is a piano, and that's it. Straight out the box, Sounds from Hell sounds fantastic. You can hear the quality of sound design that has gone into this library, and when you combine everything together, you get these really cool layers of sound. Now, I went for a bit of a mystery cue, so I used a lot of the pulses, and I explored the pads and the one-shots, transitions, risers, and everything's there you need to create these awesome underscores and like cinematic moments. For the purpose of this first look, I will focus on hits and transitions first, and then I'll look at ambience and underscore. And it's great that Red Room Audio have released 2 volumes at the same time, so you can mix and match and combine the different sounds. Now, hits and transitions has 7 NKI files. They are booms, Brahms, downers, hits and impacts, reverses, risers, and whooshes. So what I'm going to do is turn off the microphone and play some examples from each NKI. From that showcase of sounds, the sound design quality is absolutely exceptional. Some of those were just rattling through my headphones. The impact, the power was absolutely fantastic. Now, I only played you a handful of sounds, and I'm going to show you how the GUI works, because Red Room Audio have been very, very clever with the way they've organised their sounds using a bank system. So I'm going to use a Brahms as the category that I'm going to show you how everything works, because that will cover the banks, the key switches, and of course playing different sounds. When you first open the GUI, you are greeted with this awesome display. On the right hand side, you have Sounds from Hell. You know it's going to be fiery. You know what you're working with. You're using the hits and transitions, and it all looks really, really tasteful. On the left hand side and the dominating side is the really simple GUI. Now, the waveform dominates in the middle. When you hold down a key, you can see the marker going from left to right, and that's really, really handy for the start and the stop of the sample, because you may want to chop it up, do some really cool things with it, and that's really, really useful. Now, the top left, you have your overall volume, then you have your pan, so you can go left or right. And in the middle, you have the name of the sample that's being played. And all of these samples come as WAV files as well. So if you find one you like, but you want to do something different to it and you need the audio, you could just go and grab it using the name. You can see the banks are at the top as well. So the banks are controlled by the red key switches. If I play the D note on bank 1, so we have amped. When I switch to bank number 2, we have 11. When I switch to bank number 3, that's Moon Shrinker. And bank number 4, that's Tectonic. So for every NKI file, you have different banks in there, so that multiplies the amount of sounds you have. So let's go back to bank 1, and we keep going across. So you have underneath the sound, or you can switch to the rhythm generator and standard sort of like rhythm matrix. Okay, having absolutely zero effect there until I click the volume. Okay, and we can sort of vary that, vary the steps. Make some pretty cool effects. Let's add some pan. There we go. Okay. Brilliant. Then we can change the pitch as well. And the cutoff. So I've already mangled the sound. If you want to just do a random. You can click randomize. And that's nice and straightforward. Now I'm just going to reload the Brahms again. So working across, you can change the octave. And you can change the speed as well. So all of these can be mapped to your CC automation. I'll just pop it on the mod wheel. So I'm playing around the speed there. It's very cool. So that is the top line, very, very straightforward. I'll just remove that automation. If we go down to the bottom, you have the filters, the envelopes, so you can just turn these on and off. So you can save, load, sort of do whatever you want to. And you could just play around the ADSR and the depth. And then the gator, possibly my most favorite feature. So it's quite cool. You could change the rate. And again, if you pop that on the mod wheel, you get those really cool sort of glitchy sort of mess around with timing effects. And then the last thing, there is a reverse button, so you can play the sample backwards. Excuse me. So it turns everything into a reverse. And where are we? So I'll just turn the gator off again. And then just down the bottom, have the effects rack. And you can drop in whichever effects you'd like to. So let's put flanger in. And let's add a... let's put tape on there. So... last one, add a phaser. So it's really going to affect the sound. And you can grab... if you have them, effects, presets. And just turn them on and off if you need to. So if I was to load, yeah. So you do have some presets that will appear, which is very cool. So let's just cancel that. And again, you can just play around them. So on the tape, the gain, the warmth, the high roll off, the high quality mode, and you can go to 8 different effects. So nice and straightforward. Very cool feature to have, so you can keep manipulating and playing with different sounds. Going back to the main instrument, I have talked about the red key switches, which change the banks. The green key switches will change the key you're playing in. Now, that's really useful if you want to follow different chord progressions, and of course this only works for the pitched instruments or the tonal ones. So in the Brahms, if I just play the first Brahms, so we're going to use the brass knuckles, which is found on E4. So if I click on the G key switch, it's gone higher. Went down to the E then. And down to the C. Okay, you could just tap the key switches and really follow very quickly what chord progression you're playing. So you could turn these into playable instruments in, you can slow the speed down. Sounds very cool. Let's add the gator, so we could chop up a bit. Okay, so there's just so many really cool, fun ways you can manipulate the sounds and use the GUI and all the functions it contains just to sort of play around and manipulate them. So my first impressions of Sounds from Hell, it sounds absolutely fantastic. The sound design, the 10 sound designers that Red Room Audio have used are obviously first rate in their field. They know exactly what they're doing because this instrument sounds brilliant. And the cool thing is there is so much to it. Every NKI file contains so many different sounds, and then of course you can play around with them and do whatever you want to them to your heart's content. So that's hits and transitions. Let's look at ambiances and underscore. Ambience and underscore is designed to create the foundation of your compositions or your cues. So this is really cool because it's an anthology and everything's exactly the same on Ambience underscores. The GUI is the same, it's all controlled the same way, same key switches, doing the same things, and it's really, really cool. So all I'm going to do once again is turn off the microphone and play some examples from the drones, the pads, the pulses and soundscapes that are all contained in Ambience and underscore. Once again, it's really clear that the sound design is absolutely fantastic on these instruments. Now, I'm going to stick with the soundscapes first, but I want to talk about the pads in a second. The soundscapes are awesome. I absolutely love the fact you can just hold down several different keys and trigger different samples, and they just all meld together, and you get these really, really cool sounds, these awesome like textures that you just wouldn't think to make using single instruments. It sounds absolutely brilliant. So I absolutely adore the soundscapes. I'm just going to quickly switch to the pads, and you can see when you hold down, let's just go for a D minor chord. Okay, so you can hear there's, it just stops very, very abruptly. So altering the attack. And they can change the release to make it sort of blend together. That is a little bit extreme. Let's just go like this now. So you can quite happily just adjust and tweak as you'd like to. So when I did play the pad examples, they didn't quite connect together, so it's necessary to make those small adjustments. Now, one thing you're not going to feel shortchanged about is the amount of pads that appear, and same for the drones and the pulses and the soundscapes. You just don't feel hard done by. Let's try Midnight Sky. Okay, so I'd change the release yet again. And just make that a little bit easier to play. And yeah, they sound absolutely great. If I go to the pulses, and anything that loops behaves in exactly the same way. So it's going to change that to a G key switch. So there I'm just illustrating the marker. When it gets to the end of the WAV file, it will go back into the sample and create a continuous loop. Now all of them jump back to various different points, and so it's very like loop dependent, but it works incredibly well. And of course you can reverse any of these you'd like to. And of course you can reverse it and then play one that's going forwards as well. I mean, that just sounds really unsettling to me. So the sound combinations you can get from this is absolutely great. And this instrument is designed just to be the backbone of your cues and your compositions. And it just does it in such a great way. And of course, there are plenty of different banks per instrument as well. And the value for money from this is absolutely amazing. There is so much content for the $99 when it's on full price, or the $17.99 intro, and yeah, it's just a toolkit. It's going to be a really comprehensive anthology when it's finished. So really all I'm left with are my final thoughts about these two instruments. Well, I think Red Room Audio have started off in fantastic fashion by releasing these 2 volumes of the Sounds from Hell. They are evil, they sound horrible, and can create these amazing atmospheres and unsettling feelings, and they're a pleasure to work with. So my cue at the start of the video, yeah, I went for a bit of a mystery tension, but these are so versatile. In fact, they're more suited to like massive cinema and horror and crime and just anything that requires horrible, evil sounds. When you start adding effects to it, you can just create these absolute monsters. And you know, genuinely playing through the library and the amount of time I spent with it, I've just found some really unsettling sounds. For a lot of composers, this could be a hidden gem, a secret weapon. It's got sounds in here that I've never heard before. You know, I am just really impressed. I can't wait to see what Red Room Audio do in the future and how they add to it. But this isn't just another toolkit of great sound design and sound effects and more of the same. This brings something new to the table. It brings something horrific, something evil sounding, but the level of inspiration you get from these sounds is absolutely huge. And that's the first comment I made at the very start of the video. Inspiration is one of the key factors of this library. It makes you want to use it, it makes you want to explore, it makes you want to compose. So I think this library is ideal for any cinematic composer, any video game, sort of for movies, for TV, for adverts. It will just fit under so many different styles, and that umbrella of composition for media composers. It's in my template. It is an indispensable library now, and I can't wait to spend more and more time finding some more evil and disgusting sounds to go into my cues. I am very impressed by these 2 libraries. So all that leaves me to say is thank you so much for checking out the first look of Sounds from Hell by Red Room Audio. Please leave us a comment to let us know what you like about the instrument, what you'd use it for, would it fit into your workflow. Feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe to our channel, where you can find tons more videos talking about absolutely fantastic virtual instruments. Head over to samplelibraryreview.com and check out the latest and greatest in everything that the world of software instruments has to offer. Thanks again, and have a great day.